You are listening to the daily homily for Magdala in the Holy Land.
The apostle said to the Lord, "Increase our faith." The Lord replied, "If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you would say to this mulberry tree, 'Be uprooted and planted in the sea,' and it would obey you. Who among you would say to your servant, who has just come in from plowing or tending sheep in the field, 'Come here immediately and take your place at table'? Would he not rather say to him, 'Prepare something for me to eat'? Put on your apron and wait on me while I eat and drink. You may eat and drink when I am finished." Is he grateful to that servant because he did what was commanded? So should it be with you. When you have done all you have been commanded, say, "We are unprofitable servants. We have done what we were obliged to do." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
First, a couple of little sundry notes about these readings. Habakkuk. One day I was hiking here just west of the Ginosar plain through the Wadi Amud, and I ended up at Habakkuk's tomb. You can hike from here to Habakkuk's tomb. It's easier, even easier from Magdala, because it's closer. And it's like a kenotaph we have for David in Jerusalem at Mount Zion, or in Hebron for the patriarchs, and maybe Musa in the desert, in the Judean desert. I do not know the critical history of it, but a lot of people go there to pray, and it's close by. Maybe most of us don't know Habakkuk, so if you're one of those people who haven't read all the Bible and you want to read, have you read all the Bible? At least read one book. This is very short. It's only like 2 chapters. I'm not sure exactly. I didn't check today. There's a number of books in the Bible that are very short, and you can say, I read the whole prophet Habakkuk today. And there's some lines in Habakkuk that are very soul-touching. He talks about the birds up in the little cleft in the rock. It's very beautiful spiritual themes in Habakkuk. And we will get back to him in a minute. And then just another little detail. I'm not sure if the consecrated were listening today to the gospel reading that we just proclaimed, but there's a big connection to their home, their new home, because it speaks about the mulberry tree. And there's a mulberry tree at your home. So you can think maybe when you see this mulberry tree, this is an invitation about the importance of our faith. If our faith is as small as a little mustard seed, you can say to this mulberry tree, "Be uprooted and go into the Sea of Galilee." So it's a very nice location. I'm not saying that Jesus said that over where your house is, but it's connecting your house and the Sea of Galilee that's all visible from there. So a third little detail is something that caught my attention last night or this morning, and it was when Jesus, last night it was, now I remember, when Jesus is talking to these people, he's saying, which of you would say to your servant, "Sit down, I will prepare a meal for you because you were working hard out in the fields"? Would you not say, "You prepare my meal," and you continue watching TV, or you have your friends and you're having your glass of wine and they prepare the meal? Which of you would say to your servant, "Do this"? What does that mean? Who's listening to Jesus? We've kind of entered a scheme of things where Jesus is speaking just to the poor, just to the lepers, just to the disenfranchised, but also the people that are listening to Jesus have servants. It's interesting. There you have, in between the lines, a certain little bit of data, sociological data, about who's listening to Jesus. Jesus' gospel is for everybody. It's for the lepers, for the ostracized, for the neglected, for the abandoned, but it's also for everybody. It's a word that's for everybody. It's a word for the CEO, for the manager, for the property owner. It's a word for the people that are like Habakkuk, and they're looking out on the world, and they're saying violence, ruin, and we don't have to imagine too much. We just have to see the pictures of the war scenes. We just have to think of, and we can pray now today in this Mass very much for peace. We should pray. We should help. Every prayer is putting wind in the sails of peace so that it can catch, so that it can go deeper into the hearts. And this is just the first step. Yesterday, Cardinal Pizzaballa wrote an amazing letter, a long letter, 4 pages of text, pondering the difficult situation in which everybody is in the diocese, the Archdiocese of Jerusalem. The Latin Patriarchate is the Archdiocese, and there are people in the Latin Patriarchate in Cyprus, belongs to and Jordan, and Israel, and Palestine. And he mentioned first about the hostages, that they would come back and be reunited to their families after all this ordeal and horror. And then that all the prisoners who are being released from Israeli prisons would be able to meet with their families again. And maybe they've been many years in prison. And then you have all the people who have suffered the war, and said this won't be fixed tomorrow. Even if we have, let's say, the end of the war, now we have a huge disaster in front of us to fix. And the biggest disaster is not all the demolished cities. The biggest disaster is the demolished relationships between the people and the rebuilding of it. So look again at Prophet Habakkuk. I cry out to you violence, but you do not intervene. There's also a very interesting little phenomenon with this reading, that actually we're listening to Habakkuk praying. And it's prayer coming straight out of his heart. I cry for help, but you do not listen. He's complaining to God. This is very alive. You could say this is today. Why do you let me see ruin? Can you use this word today? All the wars around the world, all the human trafficking, all the desolation, all the ruin of human health through drugs and addictions, through there's so many disasters, right? Destruction and violence are before me, strife, clamorous discord. And he hears an answer from the Lord. You know, when we see bad situations, we get angry. We want to go out and protest. We want to shout. We punch the table. We punch people's faces with words first, and then with fists, and then with more violent instruments, with the most sophisticated violent instruments, and we turn into violent people. And write down the vision. There's a vision. It has its time. God's vision has its time. God's vision is not happening on commando from me. I can't change this person. I can't change my spouse. I can't change my child. I can't change my parent. I can't change my neighbor. I can't change my colleague at work. Give it time. Is it for you to shout, or is God in charge? And this is faith. Faith is entering into God's vision of things, God's vision of relationships, God's vision of what in His providence is best for my heart and soul and mind at this moment. What does God wish for me? How am I going to grow in this moment of injustice, in this moment of failure, in this moment of financial stress, in this moment of whatever you can put the moment in? And I'm crying out, Lord, are you not listening? The vision still has its time. Be patient. And the person that grows through this patience becomes a very patient person and can carry the weight of a lot of people. The vision still has its time. It presses on to fulfillment and will not disappoint. And the just one, because of his faith, shall live. And now what are we supposed to do? Well, you have a gift. God gives us the vision. The vision isn't ours, it's God's. The strengths we have to do the vision are not ours, they are God's. Paul says to Timothy, stir into flame the gift of God that you have received through your baptism, through your confirmation. It's huge gifts. Through your Eucharist every Sunday or every day, if you even go to Mass every day. We receive a lot of gifts. Stir into flame. Maybe the fire is like dying down. We need to revive the flame. God did not give us a spirit of cowardice. That doesn't mean I hit somebody in the face. That's not strength. He's given us a spirit of power. It's not power to hit somebody in the face. It's not power to destroy the difficult person beside me, to shout at them, to crush them, to hurt them. This is not power. This is not... It's rather a spirit of power, love, and self-control. This is the big thing we need to acquire. So do not be ashamed of your testimony to the Lord. Why this Christian is not doing something, why this Christian isn't getting guns to shoot the enemies. They're trusting in the Lord because there's a vision that's being fulfilled. To trust, faith, entering into God's vision, God's timing, and applying our gifts. Increase our faith. Yes, that's a great prayer today for this Mass. Lord, increase our faith. But even with the little faith, if it's not putting conditions to God, I believe in you, God, but I have to take care of this according to my plan, not your plan. Outside the commandments, not inside the commandments. Outside the church, not inside the church that you founded. This is very strong. If a small faith but without conditions to God. And that faith can be small, but it's solid faith. It's not putting conditions in front of God. And therefore, I'm going to be like a servant. Sometimes people are very blessed to do great projects, and they become very important, and they want a lot of attention and recognition. And affirmation, it's a big word we have nowadays, affirmation. No, continue being a servant. Continue. You did this big job. Say to God, here I am a servant. I will continue serving. I will continue making the table. I will continue cleaning the floor. I don't need attention. I don't need affirmation because I'm entering into your vision with your gifts, serving you. And I prefer, like St. Teresa said, to serve the King and not just a servant, not just human glory, not just gratifications. I prefer to serve God. This is faith, entering into faith, a life of faith.
Thank you for joining us today. If you want to learn more about Magdala, follow us on YouTube and on Facebook.